the Fanatic Brackets Season 4, Episode 4. I am Nick, your host. With me, as always, is my co-host, Joel.
Yo.
Today, we are joined by a returning guest. He was on our prediction chamber for Elimination Chamber recently from the Respect the Craft podcast. Please welcome Ray Sanchez. How are you, Ray? How's everything?
What's going on? What's going on, everyone? Glad to be back. See,
Glad-
it took a little. This one was less as long.
Now quicker.
We're
It was quick.
now,
Yeah,
now
it was much quicker.
Now we're making it here.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm excited though. I'm excited because today is going to be. I feel like we're going to have a lot more energy for this conversation.
Yes, I
when
feel
we
like
start
definitely.
discussion there.
definitely gonna have interesting conversations in this episode. So it's gonna be very interesting to see what we say, what opinions we have. So you chose this topic of the greatest Ring of Honor World Champion. We're going to determine, in our opinions, who the that will be in this list. What was the? Do you have a reason why that you chose that topic? Because this is kind of not WWE related. One of the few that weren't WWE related.
That was one of my things too. When I looked down the episode list that you guys have done, I'm like, okay, it's been very much WWE in that realm. If it's a WCW thing, anything like that,
Yeah.
I'm like, let's be a little different with this one. But then I'm like, let me go and try it and through, especially with my own brand with respect. I always have that homage to Ring of Honor. So I'm like, let's talk about Ring of Honor here, especially all of us being in the tri-state area. Ring of Honor very heavily influenced here, especially the champions we're going to be talking about are definitely pillars of our scene here. So I was like, let's see what can happen here if we start talking about who's the greatest Ring of Honor champion. Again, just opinions, because that debate can go on for hours.
Exactly. So great topic, of course. Looking forward to chopping that up to see who we choose. But for those listening and or watching who haven't seen an episode of the show before, pretty much the concept of the show is we're going to go matchup by matchup, each given our reasonings on who, in our opinions, we think is the greatest Ring of Honor World Champion between the two in that matchup, obviously with our reasonings. Whichever participant gets 2 or 3 votes between the three of us will move on to the next round all the way to the finals. Again, this is an opinionated show. We can look at it as differently as we wanted to, who had the better matches, who impacted the company as a champion better, or whatever case we want to look at it. There's no right or wrong way to look at it. So again, it's our opinion and our opinion only. So let's get right into the bracket. Ray, we're going to start off with you because you are our guest with the first matchup. In your opinion, Ray, who do you think was the better Ring of Honor World Champion, Jay Lethal or Jerry Lynn?
This is one of the times I would be like, I don't want to go first. But this is such a difficult one because when you look at these two and just the influence, not even just in Ring of Honor, but just as a whole to professional wrestling, these two great competitors. But when it comes to this, just because of the story element, I love Jerry Lynn. All just rights to Jerry and what he's done in the business. However, when it comes to the story of Jay Lethal coming from a young boy to being almost the just backhand for Samoa Joe and being his corner boy, being his towel boy, basically at one point, to then becoming one of the greatest Ring of Honor heavyweight champions, I got to give the point to Jay Lethal.
Okay, that's a good pick. Joel, do you agree with him or are you going to go with Jerry Lynn?
Yeah, I gotta go with Jay Lethal. I will give my respect to Jerry Lynn. He was a great champion. He brought credibility to the belt at a very early age of Ring of Honor that they needed a vet to hold that for a little bit.
Yeah.
And great matches that he put on, but Lethal just, like Ray said, coming from a young boy to the House of Truth, being the world champion and TV champion at the same time. He was basically the face of that era of
that part too. Yeah, he had to carry that lineage into the new era that he was in with the St. Clair era of Ring of Honor.
Yes.
And try to make it still as important as it was because it was a difficult time in Ring of Honor at that point too. So his run is almost clouded by the surrounding of what Ring of Honor was going through at the time.
Definitely.
Okay.
He kept the lights on, man. He kept showing up and putting on great matches. The consistency of Jay Lethal in Ring of Honor, I don't think he gets enough respect that he does.
I was going to bring that up too because I'm also choosing Jay Lethal just to give him the sweep here. But I was going to say, I feel like he was like the face of Ring of Honor for a while.
Yeah.
And again, like no matter what situation he was in, it was like, oh, he was there for a lot of Ring of Honor, right? Like pretty much to different eras, pretty much doing everything. and anything he could. You know, he went from being babyface to heel, a heel that it was a heel that was hard to like and a babyface that was hard to dislike. So he
Yeah.
really had a lot of like variations of Jay Lethal. Yeah, that makes sense. I don't know how to explain it, but it's like
No, yeah, there were so many evolutions of him because
exactly.
if you're a real like Ring of Honor head, you remember him being a part of Special K where he wasn't Jay Lethal. Like it starts from that era with him and Derange and all those guys
Yeah.
having their crazy 12-man tags at one point. Having a spot with Dusty Rhodes when Dusty Rhodes showed up in Ring of
I
Honor.
forgot about that.
And then you go from that era into then again being just shadowing Samoa Joe and being that just having his back and then trying to become his own competitor in there and then taking that stint in TNA, coming back and then having that true just House of Truth era and then becoming, like Joel said, a TV and world champion at the same time, having amazing matches with Gresham, with Jay Briscoe, the lineage of just crazy opponents he had to have. And while being, again, that face of Ring of Honor at the time, to really, again, keep the lights on because there was no Samoa Joe at that time. There was no AJ there. They were both doing their own things. And he was the only pillar left, you could say.
Yeah. I mean, didn't he catch AJ towards the end of his indie run? So technically he was
luckily,
able to. Yeah.
Right before
right
before AJ went to WWE, he was able to have at least one match with him there.
And
even I think Samoa Joe as well.
Oh no, that wasn't.
I believe so. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, okay. Because I was gonna say like wasn't Jay? I feel like Jay Lethal was one of the few people to wrestle AJ in Ring of Honor before he left.
Yeah.
So
because he was the guy of Ring of Honor at that time.
Yeah. Still was. Even matches against Cody, Roderick Strong, just a few to throw out there. But yeah, Jay Lethal, I feel like he was the backbone of Ring of Honor. So you gotta go with Jay. He's the man. Jerry Lynn, how long was Jerry Lynn there? Like what? From what? Like a couple of years? Not much of time.
Maybe like the first 2 years, maybe. 3?
I think so. Yeah, because he definitely transitioned more into when TNA was then becoming a thing. NWA TNA definitely became a big pillar of what their X division was becoming. With the matches with AJ, with Low Key, all that. So yeah, his Ring of Honor, he definitely had a great Ring of Honor run, and again, his mindset for it definitely helped him out. So even if he wasn't as much as the in-ring performer there, he definitely was a vast pit of knowledge, and it's something that again shows when you see the talent that came out of that era and continued from there.
Yeah,
that's definitely
yeah, for sure. Shout out Jay Lethal, and shout out Jay Lynn too, obviously.
Yeah, but clean sweep for the first
one. Man. There's gonna be some matchups that are like we're gonna be put in the hot seat. So one of us.
This next one, I'm already looking at the next one, and I'm like, oh.
All right, so next one we got Claudio Castagnoli, 2-time Ring of Honor champion versus Loki. This is interesting, Joel. I'm gonna start with you with this one. Who do you feel like was a better Ring of Honor World Champion, Claudio or Loki?
Okay, so I love Claudio, right? He is the modern pillar. Like he did bring in the he bridged that gap of the new era and the old era of the post 2022 Ring of Honor. He had great matches, Kingston, Gresham, Shabbat. Like you could keep going on and on about all these matches he's had.
Yeah.
Claudio is the man. And especially establishing that post 2022, they had to figure out somebody to put the belt on. But then you got a guy like Loki, the first champion. Not only the first champion. Even look at the match of where he won the first champion against Daniels and Bryan. You could have gave it to any of these guys, and they decided to go with Loki. That already tells you how Ring of Honor looked at Loki and the respect they had. So this is more of like the modern pillar of Claudio, but Loki is a cornerstone. I gotta go with Loki.
Okay. Because I didn't think about that because I was gonna say like, yeah, the first champions always means something, right? Because obviously they have a lot of faith to build a company around this guy. It's like this is the face of our brand here, right? Because I was gonna say like if you're just basing it off of like championships aside, like put them aside, just straight up in ring talent, I'm choosing low key any day of the week. He's one of the greatest junior. I mean, in my opinion, because I'm
Yeah,
more of I'm more of like a cruiserweight type of fan. That's
got
my
you,
style
got
that
you,
I
got
like
you.
better. Not saying Claudio is a bad talent. I'm just saying I adapt more towards the cruiserweights.
Got you.
That's
No,
what
no,
I watch more.
that makes sense.
But I'm gonna give the benefit of the doubt to Claudio here because I felt like, and I'm gonna give my vote to him because I feel like he was somebody like Joel, you just said, kind of like the cornerstone of Tony Khan's era of
Yes.
Ring of Honor.
Yes,
He was the
definitely.
one that defeated Jericho. I feel like that was like, in whatever way you want to look at it, like finally the title was taken off of him. So it
That
was
was
like,
a saving grace moment. I feel like
yeah,
for
Yeah.
a lot of people, like,
it was
oh,
like
we didn't want
champagne popping, like you're celebrating. Everyone's celebrating that Jericho lost the title, and then of
Yeah.
course the Bandito after that. But
yeah.
it was like, it was a moment where it's like, all right, he deserved that moment. You know, obviously he had a great match with Pac. I believe it was Death Before Dishonor that year. And he put on a lot of great matches with Ring of Honor. The only thing that really, yeah, like of course, like I said, the first Ring of Honor World Champion goes to Loki, but he held it for like a little bit over a month. So that didn't last long.
Yeah,
Um,
definitely not.
so I don't
Super
know if
long.
like I don't know like what the process is of like removing a champion that soon. Yeah, this whole stacked roster going on, but like, did they say, hey, like, yeah, we're gonna switch and pivot towards this guy instead of that person? I don't know, because that's sometimes what I think. Oh, the previous champion didn't get over. I don't know, but I'm gonna have to go with Claudio with this one. Ray, do you? This is where see
We were
got the
just
hot
talking
seat
about the
already.
hot seat. We were
Yeah,
just talking
I
about
was
the
like,
hot seat.
you guys did this to me back to back here.
yeah.
Not only do we go from, oh, do the first pick, okay, and now it's like, here's the first tiebreaker.
Welcome to the show, Ray.
No pressure. No pressure. No pressure.
This is why I get brought back. I love it.
Yeah.
But when it comes to this, it's hard because you have two of my all-time favorite wrestlers in there, Claudio Castagnoli, the kings of wrestling. You can't talk about Ring of Honor without what him and Hero did for tag team wrestling innovators. But with that being said, that's the first thing that comes to mind is tag team wrestling. Claudio, yes, is on this list because he is truly a pioneer of Ring of Honor. But when you think of that heavyweight title, you can't talk about it without talking about Loki.
Yeah.
And yes, was the reign shorter than it should have been? Of course it was, but it made sense for the feud. When you look back, it's him and Xavier who had so many matches all around, even having one not too far from us at the Elks Lodge for ICW. I got to give the point to Loki just for the simple fact of it's the first champion. Like, I feel like it would be disrespectful to us to not let Loki pass the first round.
I figured he was going to get chosen for this one. So
Like, he got to get the bonus point for that, for being
That is very
the
true.
very first champion. We might have to argue it later on why there might be better champions, but for now, unfortunately, that gives him the boost against Claudio.
Okay. So Loki does move on to the next round, as I predicted. But next matchup we have the GOAT Homicide going up against Tyler Black, also known as Seth Rollins. You know what? I'm gonna start this one off actually. Similar situation with Loki, a short reign for Homicide. But I'm gonna choose him anyways because I feel like he obviously almost from the beginning, right? When he started with Ring of Honor. Is he an OG?
Yes.
One of the OGs of Ring of Honor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Wrestled pretty much everywhere. And we were talking about this, I think it was before we recorded, like, or in the beginning where he said one of the guys that's a staple in our region of wrestling. That's why I'm choosing him. Tyler Black, Rollins grew up in the Ring of Honor era, where he primarily made himself known. But even though Homicide wasn't the biggest name on the roster, he still, fought a lot of the big names and try to stand out through his in-ring ability, and he is a big name. I don't know why I said that before, but he is a big name. Like, he's a legend in the East Coast. He fights anywhere and everywhere. I find him one of the most underrated wrestlers today that hung around pretty much for a long ass time, and killed it everywhere he went till this day. So I'm gonna go with Homicide there. Joel, do you choose Homicide or Tyler Black?
This is biased aside because either way, Homicide was getting this pick from me. But I gotta go with Homicide based off just the win and ending Brian's reign.
Yeah, man.
That was such a moment, and like you can say whatever, like people can say whatever they want about that title reign, but that was one of the first stories that was very like emotionally tied to a belt or even just a big storyline like that. Of course, we saw it later on when storylines began driving Ring of Honor, but at that time when he won it, that wasn't a big thing in Ring of Honor. So for that to happen, I have to go with Homicide. Of course, Tyler Black, great champion, got cut short because he ended up leaving.
Yeah.
But Homicide, just off of the moment of him winning it and beating Brian, finally, you gotta give it to him.
Yeah,
agree?
There's so much when it comes to that. Obviously my pick's going to Homicide, but it's one of the, unfortunately Tyler Black should get a negative at this point because it's like
no.
eliminated. No, both respect to both guys. Like Tyler Black, just the age of the fallen, the whole run he had, doing the segment of signing his WWE contract. Like he's lingering. Like, he follows the CM Punk footsteps because Punk did the same. But it's the situation of Homicide being a true OG, part of that original roster, being a part of the hit squad of guys that without Homicide, Low Key, Dan Mauve, Monster Mac, Special K, that whole group of talent that really built the Briscoes. They built that original Ring of Honor that would then lead to the years beyond. It sucks. And again, talking to Homicide, hearing why he had the Ring of Honor title and then the TNA Ring of Honor kind of working relationship died down a bit. So it's like, well, he gotta go. So unfortunately, we lose what could have been possibly a longer run with Homicide. But still, the moment itself, having it at the Hammerstein Ballroom, having who was in that ring, which funny enough, I was just on the phone with one of the guys that was in that ring. You could pick and probably predict who I was on the phone with a little while ago. But it's one of those situations of just what that moment meant, especially for the tri-state area and for just specifically even Brooklyn itself, to see Homicide do that and end Bryan Danielson's streak of no one thought he was losing that title ever. Like after Samoa Joe's run with it, Bryan Danielson just felt like he had that iron grip that just never was going to lose that title. So to see Homicide do it, it's going to be better.
Yeah, what a guy.
The sweep is
Homicide.
crazy.
Yeah, and again,
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I was gonna say
surprised.
Because we're not basing it off if we're doing like entire career wise, like wrestling.
Yeah, then you got more arguments.
Oh yeah, if it's full careers, then it's like okay, then you bring up the Seth Rollins, just what he's done, and you go
exactly.
Homicide again. He's a vet. He's a legend. Many respected. I know some people. The unfortunate thing is he known worldwide? Yes, but not by unfortunately maybe a WWE fan who doesn't know. Oh, he doesn't know Homicide because of Homicide not getting the TV contract.
Exactly.
But like even Nick said, he is underrated for that reason. Just because he didn't get the TV contract outside of TNA, doesn't mean he wasn't at that level or capable.
Exactly.
There's a lot of guys on this list that we're going to talk about that didn't get that chance, but if they would have, the conversation would be very much different.
Yeah, very different.
Definitely.
Very different. Yeah, so I forgot what I was going to say, but yeah, Homicide does move on to the next round. Samoa Joe versus Nigel McGuinness. This is an interesting one. Ray, I'm going to start with you with this one. Who do you think was a better Ring of Honor World Champ? You didn't want to be the last one. You didn't want to be the last one to do that. Pick it up this time.
Man. Just because of what that reign meant. I'm not even going to go from just their histories in the company because, again, we could have a whole nother conversation. Just because of the historic reign, I got to give my point to Samoa Joe.
Okay. Joel, do you agree with him or are you going with Nigel?
1,000%. That was the final boss of Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Legit, 1,000%. So many people have tried to copy it. Like you've seen it in other eras of wrestling. You've seen it in other companies of wrestling, but no one can replicate Samoa Joe at that time. And it's crazy because we never saw something. They tried in TNA with the X Division run, but even then,
Yeah.
it didn't
That's
hit.
what I was going to point out too. Like,
It didn't hit as much as it did in his OG Ring of Honor run, where even when he did the independents at that time, Samoa Joe was untouchable. Like there's a reason they played Jadakiss every time the champ is like he just was he was the champ. Like
he's
how
a
long was it?
definition of
600
dominance.
days, like 2 years, right? Or almost 2 years. He held it.
He was about to hit 200 days. I mean, over 600 days when he had it.
He was almost 650, I think, right?
Jesus Christ.
He was close to that, yeah.
Because he almost did the same thing with the Ring of Honor World Television Championship recently.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
he's the longest reigning. Wow.
But I mean, I was gonna Mojo's move on to the next round, but I'm just give my one to Nigel, anyways, because
out of respect, we love Nigel.
Out of respect. I had to go back and watch a lot of these matches with Nigel. I'm like, shit, Nigel, like as a heel, like his in-ring storytelling wise, like I pick out the little details in matches. I agree with both of you what you said about Samoa Joe, the final boss of Ring of Honor. That guy was like fucking unstoppable. No question. But Nigel, on the other hand, oh my, the people he faced in the ring, it was like they were struggling to compete and keep up with them, and it was like, holy shit. You don't appreciate someone's in-ring work until after when they're done or close to finishing, right? And it's like, shit, this guy was so good. Imagine him wrestling today, like his prime today. He's been wrestling here and there, but I've noticed that he focused more on in-ring storytelling. His psychology is very, very good in the ring.
Yes, that's one of those guys. Like for anyone getting in the business or anything like that, you have to want to study knowledge. His psychology in there. You have to study his technical approach to the ring, even his commentary. Like if you listen to his commentary, it's like he dissects matches so well that it's one of those things of it. When we talked about Homicide, it's the same with Nigel. It's a shame he never got that TV contract.
Yeah.
Because
if he were on any other platform during that time, I think he would have been like, just imagine what he would be like today. Like, would he still got the commentary? Would he have been like a world champion? Was there a reason? Why did he step away from the ring? Was it injury or? There
was a health reason that unfortunately he was supposed to. He was supposed to actually get picked up by the E. Unfortunately, there was a situation that occurred that disqualified him basically from getting the contract. He would then go into the commentary role and everything till a few years ago that we saw he was able to make his return. And now we get to see Nigel McGuinness here and there still putting on amazing technical matches. That match we just had with Lee Moriarty recently, that was like, that's what we need. That's pure wrestling at its finest.
Yeah, and he's a backbone of that division too, because like he follows that rules of pure rules. And it's like it's the psychology of him is amazing. Samoa Joe just focused more on dominance, just beating the shit out of everyone.
Yeah.
And Nigel was just outsmarting everyone too, which is crazy.
Like Samoa Joe did it with finesse. Like Samoa Joe wasn't just like it was brutal, yes, but he still somehow did it with finesse. That it's like this is it. But
he made it like the standard. He made it like he became the standard of a Ring of Honor champion.
Yeah.
But Nigel's not far behind him. I think Nigel might be the second best champion. You know what I mean? Like the only reason that they're against each other right now. That's the only reason Nigel went so quick. Because if not, we could have saw them in the finals.
I was gonna say if the bracket was any different, we could have Samoa Joe and Nigel.
Also the same thing is like a lot of these guys on this bracket too competed in like the newer era of Ring of Honor, to where it's like it was more fast paced, more like just what FTR kicks and flips type of wrestling, as opposed to like technique. I don't mean that in a negative way. It's not a negative thing, but like that's
it's very much it's that deep rooted in almost mid-south, that very slow pace, that it's the moments that matter type of match. But that's also what Ring of Honor was based on. Pure wrestling was a reason. It's one of those why, again, I say it, why the way I like to book my own wrestling when it comes to respect. Like it's very much focused on the craft and focused on the innovation through the years of inspiration. And as we go through the bracket, you see it. Like a lot of these guys were inspired by those that came before. Like we talk about the next match, like Kevin Steen, you can tell the Samoa Joe influence. Like you can tell what he was doing was very much that OG Samoa Joe. You know.
Speaking of
And
that matchup, Kevin Steen versus Roderick Strong. Sorry, Joe. Joel, I didn't mean
listen,
to cut you
Ray
off.
Ray started. Ray, keep going,
Yeah.
No,
man.
man, no, I don't want to go. It's man, and it's crazy because we've seen this match. We've legit
Yeah.
seen.
Yes,
Like this is one of those where it's like, oh, this is a match we actually got to see before. But this is my bias in this one because I also was very much a fan of Kevin Steen's run as ROH World Champion, from the theme to the finisher to what he did in Ring of Honor. Just truly, again, another one of almost that evolution story of just being a tag guy to being a young boy to coming in, I believe, in a random 4-way. And I believe it was the almost Canadian tryout type of match that gave us a Kevin Steen and an El Generico. His whole run with El Generico there, the ladder wars, everything that came before and after that, to his wars with Jay Briscoe. I got to give my point to Kevin Steen because it's, as much as Roderick is Mr. ROH, Mr. Wrestling, Mr. PWG, it just, but that much more. I got to give it to, it's a very slight for those listening to us. It's very, very slight, but I got to give it to Kevin Steen.
Joel, do you agree with him, or are you gonna go with Roderick Strong?
100%. Kevin Steen was a complete package, man. Like, he was the first time that I saw somebody, I was like, wow, this guy. And like I said, I also have a bias. This was when I started watching Ring of Honor full time and following it and actually knowing what was going on from week to week. So that he left a big impression on me. And Kevin Steen till this day is still one of my favorite wrestlers to watch. Like I said, he was the complete package, and then the matches he would have in, and basically what Ray was saying before about him doing the same thing Joe was doing. Well, not the same thing, but like you could see the influence.
Yeah,
he was basically just able to do that with storyline, so it made it even stronger, and it made it more entertaining, and you got to get behind it more. Joe was just like, yeah, we're gonna watch Joe beat this guy's ass and we're gonna have a great time. Steen was more like he's gonna play mind games with you, cut promos on you, but also kick your ass in the ring. So he just had, like I said, he is the complete package. It's crazy to me that just the trajectory his career went, and it's been great to watch. Roderick Strong, like Ray said, Mr. ROH, he did have the championship for a little bit, and it was just one of those eras everybody was leaving, and I felt like they just gave it to him. He did deserve it, though. He did deserve it, and he deserved a long reign. And I felt like they never gave him that.
If this was maybe greatest TV champions, we might have been able to give Roddy the point, because his era as TV champion, it was another that I felt like, yo, Roddy's never losing this title. Like, Roddy just and it's another thing when you think about his era with the embassy and everything like that, like, because he's another one that had that time, and it almost felt like Joel said that almost, let's give him the title before he leaves too, which is sad because it's like Roddy was with the company for so long, but it's like, okay, now before the writing's on the wall, he's going somewhere else. Let's give him a world title run, you know?
Yeah. I'm gonna agree with the both of you because I'm gonna go with Kevin Steen as well. I feel like when I was rewatching some of the matches from him, because you brought up Joel, the emotion, the storytelling. I think that's why he translates so well to WWE, because he was so used to doing that. And you know, a lot of his feuds were like storytelling, had a lot of story to them. Especially with his feuds with El Generico. When did the Ladder Wars match happen? That whole storyline building up to that.
I'm trying to think of the year.
2012?
It was either 12 or 13. Ray, what year was that? Ladder Wars.
I want to say it was 20. I want to say it was 2012, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, yeah. So it's everything leading up to that. You know, betraying him, being in a tag team with him. A lot of his matches during that reign was like all like violent matches, like brawls, no disqualification matches. Show
That was
that
the
he can
vibe he had.
yeah. So again, another reason why it translated well in WWE, because even though they're not really, you know, heavily based with violent matches like that, but even to this day, jumping off of stuff and show that he's bringing out a little bit of his Kevin Steen days. Um, he just brought out a lot of emotion, and it's kind of what I was saying with Nigel before. A lot of his matches were just storytelling in the ring without,
Very much. And even the
much.
promos, like that was
Yeah,
one of the
yeah.
things why, like when he came to WWE,
He had to
Dusty
cut a
Rhodes,
promo to get signed.
And luckily he was a great promo. Like
Yeah,
promos he cut for Ring of Honor and made you feel something, and that's always what you want. You want to feel something from competitors. And Kevin Steen did that every single
yeah,
time. So there you go.
yeah. So he just put his heart and soul into every match. So that's what got him noticed by WWE. Again, and obviously the promo that he cut privately to them was like the nail in the coffin. Like, yeah, we're signing this guy,
Yeah.
but he never really. Again, he adapted his Kevin Steen a little bit into a Kevin Owens. He didn't really have to change a thing to be in WWE, which is a good thing, obviously. But yeah. So he didn't really have to do anything different to stand out. He just was himself, or Kevin Steen.
I always loved that they let him stay as Kevin Steen. They
Yeah.
just changed the name. Like I love that.
Yeah, I mean it makes sense. I think Owens is his son's name or something like that. I don't
Yep. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
the almost symbolic tribute for both. That was for his son, but also to give the homage to Owen Hart, and
True.
it was a nice balance there with it. But again, it also just showed the type of person he is. And again, you got to see Kevin Steen to a degree.
Yeah.
Again, also adapting to WWE style, but you still see that, especially when it comes to the promos, when it comes to certain matches where you get to see a little bit more of the Kevin Steen. Of course, unfortunately, we don't get to see the package pile driver anymore.
Yeah.
Which is still the combination of him getting to hit the pop-up power bomb, roll through into the package. Oh, man. But it's one of those where, hey, we get to have the memories of him doing it in ROH on the indies. Like, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Because that's a big what if he was using that in WWE.
Oh,
that
man.
would have been sick.
Yeah.
That's it. I think they would have given him the NXT title night one.
I think. I mean, that's. Yeah, a lot of people would have booked the same way, because I would have done that too. Like that was a guy that he didn't even win it long after that either. That was like
it didn't take him
Yeah.
long. Like, he had
So-
the match with CJ Parker night one,
and
which
then-
unfortunately broken nose from the get go. But
Yeah.
it is. And yeah, it was the turn on Sami Zayn.
and then
Have a
it
little
happened.
bit, and then boom,
Yeah.
NXT.
It was like the
champion.
next takeover because at that time they were doing takeovers like every 3 months,
Every
every
yeah.
4 months.
Yeah.
It was,
So I think it was the next takeover.
Yeah.
Damn, shout
Jeez, he
Owens,
did-
man.
He knew they had confidence in him from
Yeah.
from the
Yeah.
beginning.
I mean, he debuted on Cena. I mean,
Yeah,
someone
cheers.
was really high up on him, which they should have been. They should have
Yeah.
been.
And his cockiness and his heel promo ability is just so arrogant, and you were like, you just love to you don't make that heel version of a heel anymore.
No,
'Cause
it's hard. It's hard to replicate it. It's one of those where it's almost like it's the shame now that he's not in the ring because of the injury, that it's like we need him back like ASAP,
Yeah.
because you can't replicate that.
Because I think his best work is when he's a bad guy. People love him.
Yeah.
People love him. But at the end of the day, it's like he's again, like I said before, he got noticed for his work as Kevin Steen, how great of a character he was. They pretty much did the same thing in NXT, turning on Sami Zayn, and recreated that whole storyline a little bit. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it, right?
Yeah.
So
basically,
yeah, they just pushed him to the moon from the beginning. I'm glad he got the run that he's had. So yeah, shout out to Kevin Owens, Kevin Steen, because what a great heel he is, man. He's so underrated.
Right.
Adam Cole versus Xavier. Joel, I'm gonna kick off with you with this one. Who do you think is a better Ring of Honor World Champion?
I love Xavier. Xavier, watching videos of Xavier and watching his own matches is incredible.
Yeah.
He ended Samoa Joe's reign, right? This is big. That's a big part, right? He ended that reign. And he was one of the first guys after Joe to hold it for a good minute. Like Joe, of course, he held it for what was it? We talked about almost 650. So
Yeah.
ending that reign and then holding it for a good like 100 plus is insane to do. So
But no,
shout out to
remember
Xavier.
he was the one that lost it to Joe.
He lost it to Joe. I thought he was the one
Yeah.
that ended the reign.
Mm-mm.
Oh my god.
The guy,
Okay.
the guy in the next, the guy in
Oh,
the
so
next
he
match.
was the first one that held it for a minute, and then Joe came in.
Yeah, so it
and
was
held
because
because at that time, like we were talking about earlier, Nick, that they would hold it for like an event, or they would hold it. The most was
Yeah.
like 50 days,
Yeah.
60 days. It wasn't a
no,
lot of
yeah,
reigns.
he held it for a
Yeah.
while.
He was the first one that held it 100 plus, and then right after
Until
that was
Samoa Joe.
Joe.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Okay,
it was
so I got my
low-key-
history wrong.
No,
Gotcha.
so it was low key that wins it. Then he loses it to Xavier, and then Xavier goes on to face Joe like almost a year and some change later, and that's when
Got you. I make sense now.
Yeah.
Makes
But
sense
also one
now.
of the guys that like also like you talked about before never got that TV deal.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And,
Well,
and it's
Just
crazy
never
because
worked
he
out.
influenced so many
Yeah.
people. He influenced so many people in the business and has a very much like in the tri-state, like Xavier's known. Like,
I was
Yeah.
gonna say I look at him as a cornerstone in Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
Like he was one of those OG guys. Like you can't talk about Ring of Honor without bringing up Xavier and talking about his reign, even though it, like you want to say, it wasn't that long. It was a good chunk though, and an important reign. But then you have him in this bracket against Adam Cole,
Yeah.
and Adam Cole was in the boom period of Ring of Honor. He was the face of Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
You could put that one on Adam Cole. I see you touching it right.
I was waiting until
I
you were
love
done, sorry.
Xavier. I love Xavier, but it has to be Adam Cole. He became the face in this era, right? 3-time world champ,
That's the
affiliated
most,
with the
right?
Kingdom.
I believe that's the most.
Maybe, yeah, it probably is. Yeah, because a lot of people, there's not a lot of like, there has to be. Maybe there's somebody that has it 4 times, but I don't think so.
no, I think he has the record of it, but it also was that era of again almost Adam Cole being the one that stayed. Like it was winning it, lost it to someone, kind of know that they're on the out. Adam Cole gets it again. Like he was that reliable player.
I was gonna say he was over reliable. He was over reliable. It was like, yo, put it on Cole. Put it on Cole. It makes sense. So because of that, I have to go with Adam Cole. I love Xavier. I think he's a cornerstone. And we talked about that earlier, why I went with low key, because he was a cornerstone. But Adam Cole, he was the face of Ring of Honor for years. In a period that a lot of people were trying to get to the E, and I don't know if he even gave a fuck if he made it or not. I think he was just one of those guys that he was like, I'm the face of here. I'm gonna run this place. And the way that he was just a heel and arrogant, people were paying money on pay-per-view to watch him lose. It was just incredible to watch, and being able to watch that era live was amazing. But again, all love to Xavier, cornerstone of Ring of Honor. You gotta go with Cole though.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with you. Agree with you, and also choose Adam Cole. I feel like he was the guy. During those 3-4 years that he was there, I think that was a time where it was like they were also signing a lot of guys to NXT. So I think he really became a homegrown star there. Really helped carry Ring of Honor through the transitional time, where it was more like the wrestling had changed a little bit, and he became the face of the company. He was also again aligned with Bullet Club, so they really had Bullet Club really front and center during that time. Obviously the Young Bucks and AJ, and him going out there with the Adam Cole baby chance, getting huge reactions every single time. I loved his heel run. I feel like prior to NXT was a different version of Adam Cole still a great heel in NXT, but it was like obviously was more free to do whatever he could as a heel, with a cocky, arrogant, person that he was. Um, which obviously, like I said before, gained the influence through NXT to get signed there. Um, having great matches like Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong in the mix. Um, Great promo skill. Always found him great to hear him talk whenever he had the mic. It was like be quiet and hear what he has to say type of person. So I've always loved his character and how he presented himself in the company. So yeah, I wanted to give my vote to Adam Cole there. Ray, do you agree? Is it a clean sweep?
I want to give it to Adam Cole, but out of respect to him and just out of the rest in peace Xavier, I'm gonna give my point to Xavier. Again, you can't talk about that lineage of the championship without talking about Xavier's reign. And also just as a performer. Again, Adam Cole, we're going to talk about it when we go through the rest of the bracket, how great he was of a champion, an asset for Ring of Honor, from the Panama City Playboy to then becoming another Mr. Ring of Honor with his era of on his own with the House of Truth, with the Kingdom, with the Bullet Club. Like there's so many things we could touch on, which again, Adam Cole moving on here, but yeah, I got to give my point to Xavier just out of personal reasons as well, knowing him for some time and getting to even train under him for a bit. Yeah, all around great guy, but point to Adam Cole. And yeah, Adam Cole going over in this one.
Shout out to Xavier though.
Now, yeah, shout out Xavier. Every time I had a couple conversations with Xavier, he was always cool as hell. So shout out Xavier, man.
Yeah, shout out to Xavier. Next matchup we have is Bryan Danielson versus Austin Aries.
You see, this is another one that
I randomized
different.
this.
No, I'm not saying. I'm just saying like the way that went.
Yeah.
Like this is another Nigel Joe situation here.
Yeah,
I man, and it sucks because I think I know where it's gonna go. And man,
I mean, I'll get this one off.
Kick it off, Nick.
Please.
I'm gonna go with Danielson. Just because of him having, again, was this also another title that was lasted almost 500 days? Was it prior to Joe's? After Joe's, right? So
this was after Joe's.
Yeah, so it was close to his reign. It wasn't really up there, but I feel like going back and also watching a lot of his matches was, going up against like Nia Joe, Samoa Joe, again, another match with Austin Aries. Always delivered great classic matches. I've always loved the fighting champion spirit that I guess he portrayed. So I've always loved, I mean, again, also another person that really transitioned well from outside of WWE to WWE. It's really the character work that brings out the best in everyone that I guess he could work with. I loved Austin Aries, but yeah, I've always loved Danielson's matches. I feel like I just always enjoyed his matches more. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Danielson on that one. Ray, who would you go with, Danielson or Aries?
Again, this is gonna be we're gonna give him the point here. I gotta go Austin Aries. Like I think I can already tell who Joel's gonna go with, so I gotta say goodbye to Austin Aries, even though one of my favorite wrestlers. Again, no slight to Bryan Danielson. Love Bryan Danielson, amazing performer. Just the influence is there with everyone. And you can't talk about Ring of Honor without his era of wrestling and his reign. But with Austin Aries, just what he's done when it comes to Generation Next and the amazing battles he had and the reign he had, also being the one to end Samoa Joe's reign. And again, we talked about the final boss. You couldn't go without wrestling the common denominator of greatness. He would also then not only win the title there, wins it a few years later from Jerry Lynn, who we talked about earlier. Like, he does it again. And then what he would become as a performer, continuing in other areas as well, making it to the E as well. And that's the biggest what if of that. If that would have gone a certain way, what could have happened there? But yeah, I got to go with Aries because just pound for pound, another one that promo, in-ring ability, still going to this day. Like, I know we're just going off their career and time there as world champion, but just he's another one that's like, he's still kicking, man. Like, but yeah, I'm gonna go with Aries just for the little biasness there, but obviously with Brian Danielson, clean sweep if anything.
Joel, are you making this a Danielson victory?
So you know what's crazy? I thought I was gonna have to be the one to give my point to Aries, to be like, I don't want to see him get swept. Like
you could still get the point. Could we see the surprise?
Go with your gut, Joel. Go with your gut.
Go with the upset.
Do we see the upset here? Do we say the greatest? He's beaten a streak before. Can he?
That's what I was saying. Like, he has a lot of influence. Like, this ain't just one title reign. Like, he is one of those guys, and he is him in ROH. I'm going with Aries.
Ooh, okay. You
know what? We're gonna do the upset today. We're going Aries.
We can't do an episode like this where we know we're gonna have those difficult talks without at least one.
I forgot you had the sound effects. So
yeah. Oh man.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you gotta do Austin Aries. Listen, I love Brian, but it's one period of time. Aries has so much influence in Ring of Honor. I think it goes over his title reign, but also so much that he did in that title reign and the matches he had. And like Ray said, he ended Joe's streak, which I messed up before, but doing that is a huge feat. So yeah, gotta go with Aries. What an upset, man. Wasn't expecting that.
Me neither. I was hoping one of you would choose Danielson. That's why I chose him first. I was like, yeah, let me set the tone for this matchup first.
Let's set the tone here for the clean sweep, possibly.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, next matchup, last matchup in the first round, we have CM Punk and Jay Briscoe. Who was the better world champion in these two? Ray, I'm gonna start with you with this one, so that way you can kick us
off. When it comes to this one, I think because of the story of just he finally does it, finally becomes world champion. And then we have the controversial just endings of it, of where do we go with this, of goes with Adam Cole, goes with Kevin Steen, the battle's there. I'm gonna go Jay Briscoe. But again, this is coming from me being big CM Punk fan, but just with these two, like the bracket did not like us this time around. They just said, nope, we're making the hardest matchups here. Like any other day, I would pick CM Punk, especially AFI and all that. Like, come on, man. Like, but no, I gotta go Jay Briscoe on this one, just slowly based off our title runs.
I'm gonna agree with you too. I'm gonna go with Jay Briscoe to having to. Obviously, not just being known as a tag team guy to kind of like separate. You can see the same thing with Briscoe, with Mark Briscoe. Him not being known as a tag team guy and winning it twice. I've always loved his hard hitting. How would you describe his in ring ability? Like just a striker, I guess, more of a brawler.
Brawler, that grit,
yeah. So I've always loved his work, rest in peace to him. Too. CM Punk obviously was more of a technician, striker, more of a main competitor. But I feel like Jay showed more and had the longevity in Ring of Honor more than CM Punk did. So I'm gonna give my vote to Jay Briscoe. Joel, is it a clean sweep or are you going with Punk?
CM Punk, very important story. Jay Briscoe, very important champion. Next.
There we go. Clean sweep.
Okay.
Clean sweep, baby.
Okay. Yeah, if it was anyone else, I think CM Punk might have had a different result here.
Wow. Yeah, there's an argument, but Jay Briscoe.
I love that you said that. I love that you said that.
That's what it is with a lot of these matchups. Like if it was anyone else, like the Jerry Lynn one earlier, possibly if anyone else, Jerry Lynn would have been moving on to the second round.
You chose great people to be put in this bracket, so it's like fuck. Like,
now the hard part is because of who we've picked, it
Yeah.
just makes the second round even more hard.
Yeah.
Like,
Welcome to the show. Okay.
Now the second round, I'm looking at the matchups and I'm like, this is
now
where
we
now
got interesting.
Yeah. I'll kick off the second round anyways.
Kick it off.
I want to go with low key. I feel like what this guy said in the first round, he was obviously the first Ring of Honor champion. And the trust into him representing the company. You know, they could have given it to Danielson or Daniels, so it was really between those three, and they gave it to low key. You know, I always loved his in ring ability. You know, from the striking, the high flying, the you know, what was it like? He just fought. You know, I think that was really what Ring of Honor's identity at the time was like just you're just there to fight. Like we said with Samoa Joe, Nigel, and he was a part of that pillar, I guess, to help identify Ring of Honor. But they were, you know, this is who they are. This is who we are. I'm trying to say, you know, he really carried himself in every single match that he was in. Going back and rewatching all of them, and he was just like a different. Like he stood out from the cruiserweights, you know, like it wasn't just a cruiserweight. It was a fighter, which relatively nowadays is just, again, you're just flying around in the ring, which isn't bad wrestling, but at that time you didn't really, like, you know, he just went in there and just like he was there to fight people, no matter how big or small you were. He was there to square up, basically. So I've always loved Loki, so I'm gonna give my vote to him. Joel, what do you go with, Loki or G Lethal?
I love low key. I gotta go with Jay Lethal. It was just he's done too much for Ring of Honor for me to overlook his title run and what he did. I love low key. Of course, we talked about it. First champion, historical cornerstone of the company. You can't talk about Ring of Honor without him. But Jay Lethal really held it down for years, and coming from like the story of, like we said, from the young days to then shadowing Joe to then becoming the champ, joining House of Truth, having the TV champ, holding them together, becoming that unstoppable force. Gotta go with Lethal.
Ray, now I'm in the tiebreaker again, man. Sorry about that.
No, so
Break the ice here.
While you guys were doing this, I'm like, I think I know where this is gonna go. So I had to look up something because I wanted to make sure it was in ROH and not ICW. Because of this part here, because of what Low-Key was able to do in his time in Ring of Honor. Because unfortunately, without Jay Lethal's little stint in TNA that really developed who he was, I don't think we get that great era of Jay Lethal in ROH.
Very true.
So because Low-Key was able to do all this, including the Matrix Minute that has been duplicated, but no one can really copy it. No one can really do that Low-Key was able to do in Ring of Honor. I'm going to give Low-Key the point. Just because not only is he a pillar, he is someone that, again, you see that inspiration in so many try to do that style. You see it in kicks from people trying to do the capo kick and trying to do the Warriors way.
Yeah.
And trying to really bring that brute style of the One World Warrior or the professional. Even that Low-Key able to evolve so much where people know, oh, if he has the hitman look, the professional, that's a whole different Low-Key. Yeah. If he's more just that rugged One World Warrior, it's like he might kick your head off. You might want to be like, it's a whole different thing. Like
he was
it's one of those things. We talked about it with Samoa Joe earlier. Of Samoa Joe as the final boss. Low-Key is the only one that went up to Samoa Joe and still said, "Not afraid," and went blow to blow with Samoa Joe. Like that is something. And again, it's funny because you find out years later, oh, all those guys are boys and all they get along.
Yeah. You know, you have to hate each other, and it's like shit.
Damn. Like, yo, he's hitting the crap out of him.
Yeah, look at those old matches. You would think they did not fuck with each other at all.
Yeah, they went crazy. Like it was like, what the? They were looking to like hurt each other for real.
Yeah, bro, but that was that style. That was Ring of Honor. It was that pure style of making it as just authentic and there's no one that again is that authentic style than Low-Key. Like again, If it was anyone else, Jay Lethal might have
Not
advanced.
very true.
But
Yeah,
gotta give it to Low Key on this one.
that is true. Jay Lethal, I feel like he could have won this too because I feel like he had more of the longevity to
Yeah.
really like have a
Oh, yeah.
whole like essays worth of information why. Um, yeah, but also someone else, if we would have put him against someone else further into the list, also would have. Yeah, we could probably do another episode just switching up the orders and probably.
Oh yeah, this is
Oh,
there's
yeah.
so many ways
Yeah.
that this could have gone that it's like
Yeah,
we could have had a whole different answer for every match.
exactly.
Definitely.
Exactly. Next matchup we have Homicide and Samoa
Oh.
Joe. Drew, I know you don't want to start this one off because you don't want
You
to.
know what? I'm gonna
You
start it
started
off
on bet.
because he's not going down with a 0. Give me Homicide.
Ooh.
I
Okay.
can't let him get swept. You know, as
I understand.
one,
Yeah.
that's one of my goats. I can't let him get swept.
Yeah.
Joe's
Raymond.
Joe though.
You know what? Because I want this
Oh, you're gonna do
conversation.
this?
I want the argument because I'm already thinking about it. Give me Homicide with the second point because
Oh,
now
man.
we have to put the Theos against each other, the OGs, the Rottweilers. We gotta go Key and Homicide next round.
Man. I was gonna. I mean, I was gonna be okay if Homicide lost, but I get why. I'm not disagreeing, but I'm also gonna basically do what Joel was doing. I'm
Give him
not
that point. Yeah, give him
Yeah, I'm
that
gonna give him the
point.
point.
Joe definitely doesn't deserve the clean sweep, but it's also like
Yeah.
it's Homicide,
hard.
man. Like it's and I know again we're not supposed to use that bias, but it's like it's Homicide. That reign of his, what he did, what he's influencing Ring of Honor to the point of how many times did the modern day Ring of Honor decide, hey, he's not under contract, but let's bring him in. Let's bring him back again. And how much they've shown of what Homicide has done. You think of that Hammerstein Ballroom and you think of the amazing main events they've had there. There's one common denominator of they continue to show Homicide. Like, and just what he's done for the industry. It's like, again, Samoa Joe, unfortunately, wrong place, wrong time with this one because anyone else, we probably would have passed Samoa Joe here. But
I mean, Samoa Joe, it's really tough, just to choose one over the other, man. It's just Samoa Joe's that was like, I think if you put him in any company, even in TNA, he was like kind of the final boss or the person you don't want to go up against and have to face. It's like you hear his theme song, it's like, oh shit, this is the guy I had to face. But he, for a big man, he was able to move, man. Like that, he broke like a barrier of a big man that, like, I mean, yeah, you see like a Kevin Owens do that. Like, you don't, like a guy that looks like him, you wouldn't be able to tell that he moves the way he moves. But yeah, he just had that aura, I guess, what the younger people say nowadays. So it's like it was different. He, he still had that same feeling to this day, even to this day in his 40s. He's still that same badass guy that you don't want to fuck with, at all. So, yeah, he was a scary dude. He was a scary dude. So I'm gonna give my vote to Samoa Joe because
shout out my son Joe. Shout out Joe, man. I love Joe.
Yeah,
he was just in the wrong place in this bracket.
Yeah,
very much. That's like and again, it's tough. That's the best thing about this. That it's like it's tough pairings, but also it's the history of who's there, man. Like it's just gonna get harder.
Yeah.
Oh my god. I just saw this one.
Yeah. Next matchup, we got the Mount Everest guys, Adam Cole and Kevin Steen. Who wants to get this one off? Because this is a tough one for me.
I'll pull the Band-Aid here. I'll go Kevin Steen. I'll go Kevin Steen with this one. Just for the simple fact of, I think Kevin Steen has a little bit more of what his reign in ROH meant than with Adam Cole. That I feel like Adam isn't as much as he broke the record with 3-time. I feel like Kevin Steen is more known as an ROH guy versus Adam Cole almost being known more as a
NXT guy.
Not even just like Adam Cole was Adam Cole. Like he went everywhere. He was independence. He was doing New Japan. He was doing PWG. He did AEW, he did NXT. And it's one of those where Kevin Steen, I feel like, as much as he did PWG, his Ring of Honor reign was very much, you knew Kevin Steen from there.
It was like it was either or. It was either PWG or Ring of Honor for Kevin Steen, but Adam Cole was like everywhere else.
Yeah, and Adam Cole did everything. Like,
yeah.
And again, no slight to Adam Cole. Like, he did it for a reason. But that gives me like just that notoriety, and because of what he did for Ring of Honor, I got to give it to Kevin Steen.
Joel, do you agree with him, or are you going to go with Adam Cole?
I agree with him 100%. You gotta give it to Steen. I love Cole. I love that era, but Steen, like I said, this might be biased as well, but I'm also a big Adam Cole fan. But Steen captivated me and made me keep up with Ring of Honor. You know what I mean? Like, it was one of those things that I was like, oh, this guy, there's something about him. I gotta keep tabs on him, and you keep coming back, and you keep the weekly updates. Adam Cole. Everybody loves Adam Cole, but again, like Ray said, that is very true. I'll go back to a lot of Adam Cole PWG matches before I go to his Ring of Honor matches. Kevin Steen, you're definitely going to Ring of Honor. You know what I mean? Like, he was Ring of Honor. He defined that era, that he was the top heel of that era. He's in the conversation for biggest heel of Ring of Honor ever. But of that era, 1000%.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with both of you. I'm gonna go with Kevin Steen on this one because I feel like Kevin Steen pretty much drew you in with both his promo ability and his in-ring ability. Adam Cole was a great wrestler, yes, but I feel like he just, again, like I said before in the first round, every time he cut a promo, it was like you want to sit down and listen, and like see what he had to say. But again, Kevin Steen really did that overall. His moves told the story in the ring. He got your attention. If, again, in the ladder war matches, in no disqualification matches, he went all out for all of that. He showed that he was passionate about what he did. And you heard about that in every promo that he was in. So again, same thing with Adam Cole, but I feel like Kevin Steen was like, he was, I guess, like we said before, it was like he was like Samoa Joe before a different era of Ring of Honor.
Yeah.
He really was like the backbone for that era, pretty much showed out. And yeah, I mean, he was that guy. He was him, I guess you can call him. He was that guy. So I want to go with Kevin Steen on that one. Shout out to Adam Cole. Shout out to Mount Everest, because I feel like those were also a fun time.
Yeah, him going down and sweep is crazy, but listen,
yeah,
he's just in the wrong bracket this time.
Wrong place at the wrong time. You know?
Yeah.
Last matchup in the second round, we got Austin Aries versus Jay Briscoe. Drew Bell, do you want to start this one off?
I'm gonna start this off. Jay Briscoe.
What was that you said in the first round? That was about Punk. Better. What was it? Better storyline for
CM Punk was an important story of Ring of Honor, but Jay Briscoe's an important champion of Ring of Honor.
Thank you, and that's why I'm giving him my vote too. So I just wanted to. I just wanted to how you said it.
It just works. It works so well.
Yeah.
I'm gonna just so he doesn't get the clean sweep out of here. I'm gonna go with Austin Aries.
You've been choosing every round. Yeah. You knew he wasn't.
The funny thing is, I knew like.
No, you.
I thought it was gonna happen with Day. I know it was gonna happen with Dales, and I was like, it's about to be that clean sweep. It's about to be. Oh, okay. I got Joel to go with me for a second.
I thought I was gonna have to give that vote, and then I thought about it. I was like, you know what? He deserves the vote. I'm gonna give it to him.
Yeah.
That's just for Aries. In case if he's listening right now, hey, I gave you the vote twice. I gave you the vote.
Yeah, you were a fan. We have proof that he did it. So.
Now here we go. The final four.
We started.
I love these two pairings, though. Look at the pairings. Like, if this doesn't scream.
I was gonna ask Ray, like you mentioned something about this matchup last round. Why, and who do you have? Let's start with that. Who do you have?
It's perfect because it defines Ring of Honor. It defines Ring of Honor. It defines not only just Ring of Honor, but defines for me what independent wrestling is. Like, when you think of not only just Ring of Honor, but you think of the cornerstones of what independent wrestling was, you can't talk about without talking about Low Ki, Homicide, the guys I mentioned earlier, a lot of the guys on this list. And for that, just again, going off their Ring of Honor runs as champion, I'm going to give it to Low Key.
Okay. Joel, do you agree with him or are you going to go with Homicide?
I'm going, again, bias aside, but I am biased. But that moment, him beating Brian, man, I gotta give it to Homicide. Great matches he's had. Come on, Low Key as well, but Homicide, I don't know. Homicide also left a big impression on me when I was younger. It was like, oh, he's from Brooklyn. Oh, he's tan. He looks like me. Oh, this is my favorite wrestler ever.
Yeah, that's Theo right there,
Yeah,
and it's perfect that it's this match because it's teacher versus student, which is great. Like that many still don't realize that it's like, oh no, yeah, without Homicide, there is no Low Key either. So,
which is insane.
Yeah.
Oh man, Nick, you're in the hot seat, baby.
There you go. It's your turn, Nick. Here.
Now this is tough.
Now which one of the Weilers will you pick? Which one of these of the OG DHS will you pick?
You know what? Because I shout out to both these guys. First off, both these guys. If this, I would just end it here and be like, "Yep, this is the end of the episode right here." I mean, I'm gonna have to go with Low Key though. I love Homicide, but I feel like Low Key had a different presence to him from being a competitor standpoint because he was like every match he was in, he was ready to fight. Like he was like, it still is too.
He just wrestled Hayabusa over the weekend.
Yeah,
like this guy it's still going.
First off, he looked very good for his age too. He looks the exact same. He's just the same from 20 plus years ago. He just was very intense. Both these guys were very intense in different ways, but it was just he always looked like he was ready and didn't care who you were or who was in front of him. He was just ready to fight. Like he was, even though I don't want to talk about this one, but when he was in WWE for a brief moment, that really like was a different version of him. Than it was weird. But it kind of like Caval. He was partnered with Michelle McCool. Anyways, we don't talk about that here.
Yeah, let's
that
not.
was different. Let's not talk about that. But yeah, he really like it was just it felt different, but he brought that version of him back afterwards. So I'm glad he was able to kind of pick up where he left off. He was special. He wasn't just a great wrestler. He was part of Ring of Honor's identity from the beginning. I feel like, again, from being just a dangerous cruiserweight, I guess you can describe him as. He was different, influential in a way. Same thing with Homicide. You can say he's influential to many people. So it's tough to decide, but I just always love Low Key. I've always loved how he wrestled. I know we're talking about just being a champion, but I've always loved him.
I think it's hard now that we're getting here, like to really pick the finals here. It's almost like we have to keep going of like, oh, just what they've done, and it's like,
you gotta go past the championship now. That's like, okay,
especially when we get to this last match, it's gonna be very hard.
I wanted to choose Homicide to be biased, but I was like, I love Low Key too.
Like I wanted to pick Homicide because it's like it
was tough.
Listen, Homicide got that big ass moment, man.
He does,
That's one of my favorite moments.
Yeah,
it's I mean, shout out to Homicide. I mean,
this is a tough bracket overall. So
it just keeps it gets harder and harder.
Yeah.
The next match, it's an actual match that's happened though. Like this one, we got to see countless times in Ring of Honor. The story they told from promo end to just the actual physical aspect of it.
Yeah.
And these two again, just when you think Ring of Honor, it works out that it's this match right here.
Who do you have, Ray? Kevin Steen or Jay Briscoe?
Oh my God, this is tough.
This is. I think because of again what we spoke about, just what he did and just what it resonated with fans as a whole, I'm gonna give my point to Kevin Steen.
Okay. Okay. Um, see, I feel like, in my opinion, every person here should have a hot seat moment. So I'm gonna choose Jay Briscoe for my pick because
Oh man.
again, I just feel like obviously longevity aside from being there longer than Steen, um, he had that grit, that farm boy type character. Um, his promos felt too. I mean, yeah, I guess you could say it was real. A lot of people use real life, stuff to their profession. But his brawler style, of wrestling really stood out. Him again separating from Mark for a bit, knowing that he could do it on his own, being able to win the Ring of Honor World Championship. I love Kevin Steen. Always loved the passion that he brought out in every match. But uh, even with the tag team going beyond the world title scene, being one of the greatest tag teams ever, um, and having that connection with the audience was definitely something you love to see. So I'm gonna go with Jay Briscoe here. Joel, you're in the hot seat. Who do you
I'm
choose and
going.
why?
I'm going with Jay Briscoe. I'm going with Jay Briscoe. I love Jay Briscoe's runs. I've loved his matches. Of course, when following Ring of Honor, he was one of my favorite guys there. I love Kevin Steen. He's the one that got, like I keep saying, he's the one that got a hold of me and had me following Ring of Honor. But Jay Briscoe was that guy and all reliable for Ring of Honor at a time that a lot of people were coming in and out, and he was the face of the place. And he was holding it down in the rebuild era, having long title reigns. He's the longest combined champion of Ring of Honor of all time. He embodied the identity of Ring of Honor and actually brought it back. It felt like I don't know. I guess like with him as champion, it just had a different feel than when like a Adam Cole was champion or a Christopher Daniels. You know what I mean? It was just a different vibe. He had that, like you said, that brawler mentality that, and having matches with like Steen, Cole, Elgin, even Mark Briscoe, and having those matches, and then being innovative and having those hardcore matches and becoming, like Nick said, from a tag guy to the guy, I gotta go with Briscoe.
Shout out Steen though. I mean, I feel like
I love Kevin
yeah,
Steen, but Jay
yeah.
Briscoe I feel is just too important to Ring of Honor.
Ooh,
What are you gonna say, Ray? What are you gonna say?
we can say it, Ray. Say it, Ray.
Now we've gotten into this though. Like either way, this
Yeah,
is about to be a difficult final.
Yeah,
But now
yeah.
it's apropos. It's the final battle here. It's
yes, yeah,
Loki, Jay Briscoe, who is, in our opinion, again, this is opinions
Yeah,
vote. For
our
anyone
yes.
opinions.
watching at home, to anyone listening, this is solely the opinions of myself, Nick, and Joel here.
Yeah.
Who is the greatest Ring of Honor world champion, the one world warrior, the professional low key, or one of them boys, the Briscoe brothers, Jay Briscoe?
Who wants to set the tone here? Who wants to set the tone?
Oh man,
I think
this
Joel
is.
wants to do it.
You know
I think
what?
Joel.
You know what? You want to call me out, Nick? Let's call it out. Jay Briscoe, because he was champion at a time that he had to compete with the black and gold, and he was at a place that he held it down and made you want to watch Ring of Honor every week and kept you captivated. I love low key, cornerstone of Ring of Honor, incredible in the ring, longevity is insane,
Yeah,
but in my opinion, I think Jay Briscoe is the best champion of Ring of Honor. He's also one of the most important, as like we talked about with Joe and Brian. But Briscoe, I think, is up there on that list just because of what he's done for Ring of Honor, not only as champion but as a tag specialist, and then also being somebody that was a brawler but could also tell a story and could give you a good ass promo, whether it was 30 seconds or 8 minutes just sitting in front of a camera. I gotta give it Jay.
See, you know what? We're gonna leave Nick with the hot seat because
there we go. There we go.
For the same point of Jay having to do that, low key had to set the tone because low key was when you didn't know what a Ring of Honor was, low key had to set that tone and truly display as the first face of Ring of Honor, as the first ROH World Champion, and again, just the career he had post champion, like the matches he had with the likes of Samoa Joe, the Kobashis, the Kentas, the runs he had, like it was facing most of the guys that we had on this list here tonight. Like low key was the standard that without a low key, we don't have this list here of all 16. And we don't have the champions that come to the brand that continues today. Is it the same Ring of Honor? No, but without what low key and many others did, there wouldn't be that code of honor or rules of honor to respect and to continue on today. So I got to give it to. So Nick, we've gave you our pleas here. Now it's your turn on the hot seat, brother.
What is your opinion?
Who is the greatest Ring of Honor world champion?
Damn, because both of these guys are like they both embody Ring of Honor, right? Obviously, with like we said, low key, the first one, and having to set the tone for Ring of Honor in the early days. But you also have Jay Briscoe, who had the longevity, who continued that, and like, he, man, fuck,
it was a tough one.
Yeah, shit. So I guess I'm gonna. You really do no wrong here. I think there's no wrong answer. No matter who I choose, but I'm just gonna go with what the heart's telling me, and I'm gonna go with Jay Briscoe. I feel like again his matches also told a lot of stories in the ring. He also had a lot of authentic promos. When he didn't really speak like a character. He was just himself. He had the loyalty, the longevity, the legacy, more importantly. So I feel like he made the title feel important in a way, to having to step out from the tag scene and go his own way. He had the passion, the authenticity, the grit. Same with low key, but again, I think longevity outweighs being one of the pillars. Yes. So I'm gonna go with Jay Briscoe here. Again, there's no wrong answer. I wish we could just end it off on a tie, but
I was gonna say we could have ended it there. We could just end it.
To be honest.
But in their own right, every single person we talked about on this list were one of the greats in this company's history. If we just talk about that as a roster right there, those 16 are truly ridiculous. 16 of the best that ROH had. But when we come down to it again, the final four shows you just that history there. And then these final two truly embodying what started Ring of Honor, what truly continued that banner. And then we continue on to today, that it's still insane that Ring of Honor is still going. Is it the same that we saw so many years ago? Unfortunately, no. But things do evolve. Things continue to go. And without Ring of Honor, there wouldn't be the companies we see today. There's many companies, respect, that embody those same values now and get to continue that era of what that company created so many years ago. But it's good to see just a conversation like this. And I thank you both for letting me on here, because this was was fun. I was glad we were able to have this idea go here, and this was a fun conversation.
It was. Thank you for coming on. And
we appreciate you.
Wouldn't have got this done. So where should people find you and Respect the Craft? They might as well plug that stuff in.
Let's plug it away. Everything for social wise is going to be at the RTC Pod. For the podcast and the promotion, you can find it on YouTube at youtube.com/Respect the Craft. You'll see all the episodes that we've done so far, as well as the last two shows with Respect and No Escape, and then announcements coming soon on our return, that we're finally looking to make a little bit of a summer return coming very soon. So that announcement should be posted up in the next month or so. So stay tuned to that.
So yeah, this should be out towards the end of the month. So
So
probably
in a few weeks.
yeah, if you
There we
yeah
go. All right,
yeah,
awesome.
there you go, there you go.
In a few weeks, from the time of this being posted, in a few weeks, we should be announcing our summer return. The only reason I don't say a date now is because I'm still waiting on the venue to confirm the date. But we do have a plan on how we want to revamp things and really change the game again, because we now are focused. We now know what we did correctly, what we did incorrectly. After some conversation with some great friends and great people in the business, yeah, respect will be back and better than ever.
Awesome.
Love to
So
hear
we'll
that.
definitely plug yourself in the description of the video, so that way people can
Everybody
check
can
that
go
out. But thank
follow.
you, exactly. Thank you again for coming on to this episode. I'm Nick with Joel and Ray, and we'll catch you guys next episode.
Catch you.